guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here, and happy Monday. I've noticed I've had quite a few new subscribers come on board. My name is Kristen Martin. I am an Amazon best-selling young adult science fiction and fantasy author living in Texas. I'm also a YouTuber, podcaster, writing coach, entrepreneur. It's safe to say I have a lot of stuff going on. Every week on this channel, you can expect to find one writing advice video that will go up on Mondays and a personal day in the life vlog, which is more of an inspirational, motivational, behind the scenes look into my life and what I do every day as an author. So I'm really excited for today's video because it is another Q&A. So about, it may have been 2 weeks ago by the time this video goes up, I had asked on Twitter for you guys to send me your questions with the hashtag AskMeKM, whether they were personal or writing related, any types of questions. And I also posted it to my Instagram on my Insta stories. And you guys, I got so many questions, hundreds of questions. So I did kind of have to comb through them, and because there were so many, I picked out just 25 and I tried to see which ones kind of, multiple people had asked, so that way I would answer the most frequently asked questions. If your question is not answered or mentioned in this video, I am sorry, but again, I had so many questions, so you can send it to me again for the next go around. And also, if you submitted more than one question, I only took one of your questions just to be fair, so that way I could answer as many questions from as many different people as possible. Okay, I'm done explaining that, so let's go ahead and get started with this Q&A. All right, the first question is from Vitimia Noemi. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. And she asks, what kind of techniques do you use for your personal development? I love your attitude to life very much. Oh, thank you so much. That is so sweet. So for personal development, I read a lot of books and I listen to a lot of podcasts. I also do meditate on a regular basis. I try to do this daily, but if I'm being totally honest, it ends up being about 4 times a week, maybe 5 if I'm lucky. But I'm really working on meditating for at least 10 minutes every single day, and then I also do journal. So if you're looking for some really awesome personal development books, I would say to check out the You Are a Badass series by Jen Sincero. It's You Are a Badass and then You Are a Badass at Making Money. And also Shannon Kaiser's books. I really enjoyed 21 Adventures for Your Soul. So out of all the books I've read, those would be the top 3 I would say to start off with. Oh, there's one more. Mastering Your Mean Girl. I had to get up to check the author's name, but Mastering Your Mean Girl by Melissa Ambrosini. I will leave links to those 4 books in the description box below in case you want to check them out. And then as far as podcasts go, I actually do have my own podcast, That Smart Hustle, which is available on iTunes and SoundCloud. And it's really all about the girl boss vibes and inspiration and motivation and just really going into like deep thoughts with Kristen. One of the podcasts I absolutely love is Style Your Mind by Kara Alwo-Leba. And her podcast is available on iTunes and Stitcher. So I'd highly recommend checking that podcast out if you're looking for some really great personal development techniques and tools. I will leave the link to Kara's podcast in the description box below as well. Alrighty, the next question is from Angie Dallas, and she asks, would you come to Germany one day? I absolutely would come to Germany one day. I'm really hoping that in the very near future, I'll be able to do my first domestic book tour, and then very soon after that, do my first international book tour. And Germany would definitely be on the list. All right, the next question is from Heather D. Nelson. She asks, other than Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter, what one social media platform would you recommend aspiring authors focus on next? Well, Heather, I feel like you really hit the nail on the head with pretty much everything you just mentioned. I found Instagram to be growing really fast, especially Bookstagram. I would also say YouTube. I feel like YouTube is really blowing up, but I know for a lot of people making videos and posting them on a regular basis isn't really up their alley. Maybe they're camera shy. So as an author myself and growing my platform, I really haven't had much luck, I guess, with Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest. To be honest, it's really been Instagram and YouTube. So since you did not mention YouTube, I would say that YouTube would be the one platform I would focus on going to next. All right, the next question is from Kimberly Bailey. She asks, how do you stay motivated throughout the whole book, and how do you deal with the shiny new idea syndrome if you have it? So when it comes to staying motivated throughout the whole book, I can definitely understand where maybe you write, the first 25,000 words and then you kind of feel like you're coming onto a little bit of a slump or you're hitting writer's block. And honestly, how I stay motivated is to actually take a break. So if I write 25,000 words and then I feel like I've sort of hit a wall, I find that if I take a week off from writing, sometimes when you're so focused on one project, it can get old really fast, and that's normal. So I don't want people to think that, you know, writers are motivated throughout their whole entire books. I don't think I've ever met a writer who stays motivated every single chapter. I know when I wrote Shadow Crown, I was really, really motivated, but I broke writing that book up over 2 different months, and I took a good like 2 or 3 month break in between. And then when I went back to it, I feel like I was re-motivated. I had a fresh start, and just my ideas were fresh, and I was ready to get going again. So it can be hard to stay motivated throughout the whole book. I would say that if you're really struggling, try taking a break for at least a week and then come back to your work and see what new ideas you have. As far as shiny idea syndrome, I don't do anything to combat it. It happens a lot. I just make sure I always capture the ideas in a notebook. So I think it's good to have other projects on the back burner that you can switch over to and focus on and work on that. And when you start to feel burned out on that one, go to the project you were previously working on and kind of see what new ideas flourish. The next question is from Spencer Hoadley, and he asks, what are your thoughts on the debate between typing a first draft and handwriting the first draft? Oh, I didn't know there was a debate on this, so this is really interesting. Personally, for me, I type much faster than I write, and since I do self-publish, I like to have my book pre-formatted because it just saves me a lot of headache when I'm actually going to get it all ready for publications. If you're someone who likes to handwrite your first drafts, that's totally fine. For me, I would feel like this would kind of stagger my creativity and my flow, because again, I can't write as fast as I can type. Okay, the next question is from Samantha Davidson, and she asks, what is the best part about the fan following you have with your author platform? What has been the biggest surprise in building your following to as large as it is? Well, thank you for saying my following is large. That makes me feel really good. The best part about my fan following is really just that I feel like I get to connect with people on just a deeper level than I feel like most other people do, because I let people into my life on YouTube and my day in the life vlogs. People are really receptive to that. I feel like they know the true me, who I am at my core. The people that watch my videos and read my books really know me. And so I think that's the coolest part about my fan following, is just having that deeper connection with people, and especially having built that online, because that is a very rare thing to be able to do. And then the biggest surprise in growing my following was just kind of how quickly it started happening. So I remember last year in July, I had hit 1,000 subscribers. So just let that sink in real fast. It was a year and a half ago, and I had just hit my 1,000 subscriber mark. And then in July of this year, 2017, I hit 15,000 subscribers. And then now sitting here in December, you know, I'm over 20,000 subscribers. It's growing at such a fast rate. And I feel like that first year when I started YouTube in 2015, getting to that 1,000 subscriber mark, I was like, does anyone even watch my videos? Like, what am I even doing this for? But I loved doing it, and I knew that the right people would find me and would find my content and my channel, and that they would be a part of this awesome community that we've all built together, and that is what's happening. So I'm just so excited to see where this channel goes in the future and how many more people we add to this awesome community. The next question is from Guadalupe Rodriguez, and she asks, I just finished my NaNoWriMo novel, congratulations. Any tips to stay motivated to edit and be okay reading your own writing? Editing can definitely be a beast. I would say my biggest tip is to take some time away from that draft. Take, you know, as long as you can. I would say at least a month. Don't look at it again, don't touch it, just let it sit there and then come back to it. That way you're going to have a fresh set of eyes going through everything. You're going to be able to catch errors and plot holes and any mistakes you may have made. And you may even have new ideas as you're going through during your editing phase to add into your story later on. And then in terms of staying motivated to edit, I like to give myself an actual schedule. So I say, okay, for 1 month, I'm going to edit the 60 chapters in my book. And then I will make a legitimate schedule that from, you know, 7 to 9 p.m. every single day for that month, I will edit 2 chapters a day. And so by the end of that month, I'll have all 60 chapters edited for at least the first revision and the first go around. So I found that creating a schedule and a routine when it comes to editing really helps me stay motivated and stay on top of it. All right, the next question is from Bethany Adazeda. I'm so sorry, I'm totally butchering your name. But she says, yay, I got one I've been dying to ask. How do you set up signed books and payment on your website? I'd love to set that up for my book. So let me back up a little bit, because right now I have a Wix website, but before I was using Wix, I used Blogger. When I had Blogger, it was the free, very basic standard package. What I had to do when I wanted to sell signed copies of my books was actually create a Google form that people could go to and enter all of their information. So their name, their shipping address, the inscription information, and I had them agree to a bunch of different terms about shipping and the different rates and the estimated time of arrival and all that kind of stuff. And so once I would receive that Google form in my inbox, I would then go to my business PayPal account and I would create an invoice and send it to them. So obviously this is a very manual process, and I feel like that's one of the only ways you can do it with a really free and basic standard website. But then when I moved over to Wix, I actually pay extra to be able to have a store and to be able to offer services. So I was able to upload all of my books onto the store. The whole process, it's all automated. It's amazing. So someone can, add my book to their cart, just like if they were shopping on Amazon or any other site, and then enter their payment. They can pay by credit card or by PayPal. And then I get an email every time someone orders a book, and it has all the shipping information, everything I need to know. And so then I sit over here and, sign the books and package them up, and then I ship it. And the only thing I do is follow up with each customer to let them know what their tracking number is and what the ETA is. I really like having the Wix store set up, and I'm really glad that I paid a little extra to have that feature, because it saves me so much time and so much hassle, because it's just more automated than what I was doing before with the Google Forms. But both work. Wherever you're at in your author journey, you're just gonna have to pick which one is going to work best for you. Next question is from Erica the writer, and she asks, what do you do when you develop your characters while outlining and they end up getting really dull when you're drafting? I found that if my characters start to become dull as I'm writing and as I'm drafting, a lot of the time it means that I didn't flesh out that character well enough. And so what I end up doing is going back to the drawing board. I really dive into that character. What makes them tick? What are their secrets? What are their motivations? So a lot of the time, if one of your characters has become dull during the writing process, it really just means you need to go back to the drawing board and really delve into that character and their personality further. Next question is from Brie R. Leclerc, I'm sorry, I know I'm saying your name wrong. And she asks, are you thinking about publishing any nonfiction books in the future? So I am. I can't really talk about it though, unfortunately, because now is just not the time to do it. But yes, I am planning on publishing a nonfiction book in the future. The next question is from Josiah, sorry, saying it wrong again, Bradley. And he asks, did you have any prior social media marketing prowess before starting your YouTube channel? What did you learn about building a following in the first year? Thanks. No, I did not have any social media prowess or skills or really education when I first started out, especially with my YouTube channel. I definitely had to learn as I went, and I feel like I've learned a lot. I've tweaked a lot of things, but it really is just practice and educating yourself. And I found the biggest thing that has helped me has been search engine optimization and SEO tags. So the tags that I use for my YouTube videos, I found that once I figured out what tags to use, my videos were getting a lot more hits. Because the information is really special and I spent a lot of time researching it and it's really proprietary to me, I can't share exactly what those tags are, but I will tell you that in my coaching program for writers called Valiance, which is launching on January 15th of next year, I do talk a lot about the SEO optimization for YouTube, and I actually do provide the tags that I use for my videos. That is super valuable information that I do offer in Valiance. It's just one of the many things that I offer and talk about. I literally share so many of my secrets and tips and tricks in that whole coaching program. So if you want to learn more about that program and find out about the packages, pricing, and all the information in the different modules, make sure to check out the link in the description box below. And the one thing I learned about building a following in the first year is that it takes time and it takes a lot of adjusting. So it takes a lot of time to grow your platform and your following, but it also takes a lot of time to learn basically how to become good at YouTube and how to make it work for you as one of your platforms. All right, the next question is from Jess Catherine, and she asks, what should I do when I find an embarrassing error in my published book? And what is your favorite and least favorite thing about being an author? So if you really wanted to, you could take the book down, so you could take it off of distribution. You could buy a new ISBN, and you could fix the error and then republish it and relaunch it without that error. But honestly, I know my books have typos and phrases that are incorrect and grammatical errors, so I know that those things happen. They happen in self-published books and they also happen in traditionally published books. So I would just say to leave it be, unless it's some major plot hole that you found where you're like, I really need to fix this and you need to rewrite a section of your book, then maybe at that point I would take it down and relaunch it. But in terms of just, you know, a grammatical error or maybe a phrase that was used incorrectly, I would just say to let it be. It's fine. And my favorite thing about being an author is that I get to do what I love every single day. I also love connecting with just like-minded writers and readers and everyone here on YouTube. And then my least favorite part of being an author would just have to be just the formatting part when I'm getting ready to upload to a print-on-demand platform, specifically Ingram Spark. I feel like it's just always a headache and it takes a lot longer than I originally planned for it to take. So I really don't have a least favorite part about being an author. They're just that one part of the process where I'm getting ready to upload all of my documents to Ingram Spark can be a real big headache because if you mess up one tiny thing, they end up charging you to fix it. So that's the one thing I don't like about being an author, a self-published author at least. All right, the next question is from Amber D. Curtis, and she says, I've been doing some research on author bio photos, and I was curious what your opinion is on what makes a good author bio. Color versus black and white, headshot versus scene, etc. And when is it best to include and not include an author's photo with their book? I would say that color photos and headshots tend to be better for author bio photos. It's really up to you though. It's whatever you feel most comfortable and whatever I guess goes well with who you are as a person, your branding. So there are a lot of different pieces to this question that make it a little bit difficult to answer. I know for me, I prefer color photos that are just headshots. In terms of including an author photo with your book, I feel like every book should have an author photo, unless it's something where you want to remain anonymous or you're writing under a pen name and you don't want anyone to know that you wrote a book. I would say then and only then, you know, don't include your author photo. But for every other book, if you're out there and you're like, this is me, this is my book, I don't know why you wouldn't have an author photo. The next question is from Beth Hands, and she says, I'm indecisive in both my writing and my everyday life, which makes it really challenging for me to finish my book. I know that you love planning, so I was wondering if you have any tips on how to make a plan and stick to it. When it comes to making a plan and sticking to it, it's really about discipline and the habits that you build every single day. So if you have a really hard time sticking to things, I would say to start building habits, because those habits are going to turn into a routine and then you'll become more and more disciplined as you implement those habits into your lifestyle and stick to them. So whether it's waking up at the same time every single morning, you know, doing some journaling or meditation, spending 1 hour every day working on a book project, whether that's writing it, outlining it, editing it, I feel like the best thing to do is to start small and build those habits every single day. So I've read multiple studies where they say it takes a little over 2 months, it's actually 66 days, for a new behavior to become automatic. So it will take some time and there may be days where you don't feel like doing something, but I feel like if you can really stick to those habits, whether that's putting reminders in your phone, like on Google Calendar, so it'll pop up and remind you to go do stuff, just find a way for you to stick to those habits. And I feel like the more that you build, the easier it'll be to stick to things in the future. The next question is from TL Peterson, and she asks, if you had to do something differently as a child or teenager to become a better writer as an adult, what would you do? If I had to do something differently, it would definitely have been in my teenage years. I pretty much stopped writing in high school and I became hyper focused on sports and getting into college. And I feel like I would have, or I wish I would have, written more and kind of kept going with my stories and writing my books. So I think if anything, it would have just been that I would have kept writing throughout high school, because there was really a time where I stopped. And I feel like if I had kept writing, I may have discovered my true passion and what I wanted to do earlier on, and I could have started this whole journey a lot earlier. The next question is from Kathy Lansky, and she asks, you seem to get an awful lot done in a day for someone with a serious full-time job. I'd love to see your morning routine or productivity tips. I actually did make a video on how to be more productive, and it was the writer edition, so I will leave that video linked in the description box below. And then as far as time management goes, this is really why I created the Hustle Smarter, Not Harder webinar series. It's an hour-long webinar that's jam-packed with information, and there's a really large section that talks about time management and how I prioritize my time and how I'm able to get so much done even with a full-time job. So I know I talk about Hustle Smarter, Not Harder a lot, but that is because it has so much valuable information, so many insights, and just so many key takeaways that I feel like will really help you to be more productive and manage your time better. So the link to that Hustle Smarter Not Harder webinar series, as well as all the information on it, is always in the description box below. I would definitely check that out. The next question is from Donna de Oliveira, and she asks, how did you decide how far into the future to set the Alpha Drive trilogy? That's a good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. I did a little bit of research, but with how quickly technology has been advancing, 2055 just seemed like this time where alternate realities could exist, and this is something that really could happen. I thought that, you know, in the 3000s was a little bit too far-fetched. I feel like there's gonna be some really crazy stuff that my brain cannot even comprehend or come up with right now. So 2055 just felt right for me. I don't really have a specific way that I came up with the year deciding how far in the future to set the Alpha Drive trilogy. Really, I just chose a time frame that I felt would be realistic for all of the events and occurrences that happen in the Alpha Drive. The next question is from M. Elizabeth, and she asks, I was wondering what it was like publishing with Amazon because I was thinking about doing it. Do you have any advice or thoughts? Personally, I love Amazon. I love CreateSpace, and their print-on-demand platform to upload your manuscript is so incredibly simple, and it is so user-friendly. Not to mention their customer service is fantastic. So if you are thinking about self-publishing, I would highly, highly recommend publishing with Amazon's CreateSpace. Next question is from Samantha, and she asks, I may have missed it if you already have a video about it, but how do you go about handling the pre-book launch jitters? About 3 to 4 days before the book launches, I won't do anything related to the book. I will pretend like the book doesn't exist. And of course, this is making sure that I've had everything kind of prepared and ready to go for the launch. But yeah, those 3 to 4 days before the actual launch itself, I tend to take myself out for, I don't know, for like a mani-pedi or for a massage, or I just do other things to kind of get my mind off of it, because those last 2 weeks, especially before your launch, will just seem so slow and like they're taking forever. And it feels like your launch is just never going to come. I don't really have any concrete tips for battling those pre-book launch jitters, but I would say if you can kind of get your mind off of it and do something else that you enjoy, it'll make your actual launch go a lot smoother, and you'll also be a lot less stressed out. Okay, the next question is from Sarah Burdett, and she asks, when starting on developing your author platform and choosing a blog site, do you have a preference such as easy to use or get started, or would you suggest creating your own domain from the get-go? I would say if you're just starting out, especially if you don't really have the funds to go with a site like Squarespace or Wix, I would recommend going with either Blogger or WordPress. The next question is from Barbara Mitobi. Again, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. She asks, how would you recommend finding a critique partner if you don't have any writerly friends? I mean, when I first started this whole journey, I didn't have any writerly friends either. So I found beta readers by posting on a Goodreads forum. But I also found that joining sites like Scribophile and Wattpad are really great ways to find other like-minded writers, are probably the best 2 places to find critique partners. The next question is from Sio Savi, and she asks, how do you deal with the family naysayers who just don't get you being a writer? Well, the naysayers, it's a lot harder if the naysayers are in your family. I'm fortunate enough to have a really supportive family. Do they always fully understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing the things I'm doing? No, they don't. And do they sometimes ask questions that kind of have this negative undertone to them? Yes, they do. But when you find your passion and what you're supposed to be doing and the thing that really lights you up, then it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about it. As long as you're happy with your decisions and you're happy with what you're doing, the naysayers just kind of fall away. The next question is from Amity Miller, and she asks, what equipment do you use to make your podcast, or what do you recommend using? Love this question. So I actually use this microphone right here. It is the Audio-Technica ATR 2100-USB. So it comes with this cool little stand. I can't remember how much this was. I'll make sure to leave it linked in the description box below. I know I got it off of Amazon, but I really love this microphone, so I just plug it into my computer, and then I use QuickTime to actually record the audio for my podcasts, and then my MacBook automatically came with GarageBand, just like it comes with iMovie. So GarageBand is what I use to drag and drop the QuickTime audio into that application, into GarageBand, and then I can sit there and edit it if there are areas where I mess up, because I tend to stumble over my words a lot. So yeah, I'll use GarageBand to edit it, and then I can export it to an MP3, and then I use both iTunes and SoundCloud to upload those MP3 formats, and voila, you have a podcast. Alrighty, 2 more questions. The next one is from Jennifer Gregson, and she asks, do you have any advice for starting a YouTube channel? My biggest piece of advice for starting a YouTube channel is to be fearless in the decision of deciding to post videos and to start your channel, to find a way to create value. So come up with content that you can kind of put your own spin on that will create value and help other people. I found that my platform has grown exponentially because I sit here and just dish out free writing advice. And I also show my behind the scenes, my day in the life, my experiences, the conferences and the book events I go to. So I feel like this adds value to the people who may want to do this one day. So if you can kind of find your niche, find your target audience and figure out what it is they would really like to see, and then kind of mold your YouTube channel and your videos and the content you're creating around that, then the people that are meant to find you will find your channel, they'll subscribe, they'll be engaged and interactive, and your platform will grow. All right, and the last question is from Camille Myrick, sorry, and she asks, how did you learn the best ways to edit a video? What software do you use? You inspired me to start a YouTube channel, so what advice do you have for a newbie? So since I already answered the advice in the previous question, I'm gonna skip over that one. But I use iMovie to edit all of my videos, and honestly, I just went onto YouTube to find a tutorial and shortcuts for editing my footage in iMovie. But yeah, I use iMovie and then checked YouTube for a tutorial. Woo! Did we make it? We made it. Those are all the questions I have for today's Q&A. If you like the content of this video, please give it a thumbs up to support my channel, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. And if you have a burning question that you want to ask for one of my future Q&A videos, make sure to follow me on social media, specifically on Twitter and Instagram, because that is where I tend to post when I am taking questions. And again, if I did not answer your question, I'm so sorry. I received hundreds and hundreds of questions for this video today, so just make sure to send it to me again for the next Q&A video. All of my Amazon best-selling books, The Alpha Drive, The Order of Omega, Restitution, and my newest book, Shadow Crown, are available for purchase on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, as well as the Book Depository and Books A Million. You can also order signed copies of all of my books. For more information on how to get your hands on an autographed copy, please go to my website at kristenmartinbooks.com and click on the Buy Books tab on the menu bar. If you are a fan of audiobooks, make sure to check out my affiliate link with Audible in the description box below. You can get a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial for their service. Who doesn't love free stuff? So make sure you check them out. Don't forget to check out the Hustle Smarter, Not Harder webinar series and all of that information. You can do that at thatsmarthustle.com. And also make sure you check out the coaching program for writers called Valiance that will be launching on January 15th of next year. I'm super excited about that. You can find that information at kristenmartinbooks.com and then click on the Valiance coaching program tab on the menu bar. I am also attending BookCon again next year in New York City on June 2nd and June 3rd. I will have a booth number 1242 where I'll be selling and signing copies of all of my books, so I really hope I get the chance to meet all of you there. If you have any questions or think of a topic for one of my next videos, make sure to leave it in the comments down below. Again, I would like to thank you so much for watching. I would love for you to hit that subscribe button on your way out. Don't forget, I post new writing advice videos on Mondays and personal day in the life blogs on Thursdays. I will see you guys next time. Bye.